Hi everyone, welcome to Josie's Creative Corner. So this is our last video for the Craft-a-thon. That's our fourth project, and then we have two more projects which will be held and done by it will be taught, by Tracy from Uniquely Creative. Now, this video that you're going to see on how to put this together is completely raw footage, except for one spot where I made a mistake. The rest, it is raw footage because it is literally step by step on how to put it together. And I didn't want to cut anywhere or miss out any parts if you're going to be doing this at home. So I'll go through the journal with you first. Now, this is designed by Victoria Designs. And we're just gonna open, and I have that there. I have another little booklet in here. Just quickly get that one out. So I have a tag in there as well. Now, as we open it, we have another tag here with a pocket. We have another pocket up here. This is the envelope that was supposed to be glued here, but I've decided to keep it separate so I can put a large photo here. When we close it, we have another pocket there. And we keep closing. We have another pocket here. And this is where I made the mistake. And finally, the end of the album. Okay, so pop them in there. The back of the album, and that's it. So these are our Christmas folio. Now, I have not decorated mine. You can decorate yours with a lot. So I will be putting this away, and I will put the video on how to, and you can actually change that on how you want it to look. I'll put a video on how to put it together. You won't see me at the end because this is, like I said, raw footage. And I will see you next week for next class. Bye for now. So I have the full kit here, and I will go step by step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them up there, and I'm going to take page 1 and 2. That's what we need. We are going to need base part 1 and base part 2. For quick and easy cutting, I'm using a cutting machine. And for these two little pieces, I'm just going to use a pair of scissors. Now, that was that part. And now in this page, we want this one. Pop this one aside, we'll use it later. For this, if you're at home, you can use a corner punch if you have one. If not, just with your scissor, we are going to cut it. Okay. Next part, we're going to get our scorer out and we're going to score these dark lines here and these dark lines here. Okay, pop this one aside. And I'm just stacking all my bits and pieces up here. Now we're going to fold and fold. And again, just very gently, we're going to fold this. Okay, beautiful. Now you can ink around it. All I'm going to do is I'm going to get a red and I'm going to just go around this way just to get rid of that little bit of white. We might or might not see it, so this way it's actually hidden. And also, if your cutting is not as good, is not that good, like mine is not, you might find a little bit of white, like over here. This will hide it. And it is nice and quick. And the same thing with this. Okay, that doesn't matter, it's going to be hidden. Okay, once you're done with that, we are going to join these two together. And all we need to do is find out where your fold is, and you want to come a little bit on that side of your fold. Because obviously when you want to close it, you don't want it to be like that. You want it to be nice and straight. You can use double-sided tape. I tend not to use double-sided tape. I don't like double-sided tape. They do dry eventually. So I'm going to use a wet glue. Okay. Now, if you're like me and sometimes you put too much glue on one spot, you can use a brush to brush it a bit more so it doesn't bubble up. And then we'll put our paper there. Now this glue is very strong, but I have a few seconds to work with it before it dries and binds. And I want it to be, you don't have to be perfect, but it would be nice to be close to. There we go. Done. Stay there. Got a few more seconds before it dries. Might have used a little bit too much glue. Or not enough. Try number 2. And we're going this way. Much better. Look at that. Okay, So we're done with this one. Now we're going to pop this one aside and we're going to go back on our stack of papers. And we are going to find base 3 and base 4, which are the next two. So what we want is that one, which is called base 3, and this one, which is called base 4. So I'm just going to put that on there. Okay, so back to our cutter. And obviously Frankie's got something to say. Okay, so that one we're going to put aside for later. I'll pop this aside and I'll do that by hand in a second. In the meantime, I'll cut this one. This one is called tag 2. We put it aside for later. And we'll just keep on trimming away. Okay. This on our way. So next we are going to trim around here. And then we're going to remove these little pieces. Okay, that's a bin job. This one stays there. And now we're going to do the same on this one. We're going to remove this part. Oops. There we go. That goes in the bin. And these ones are the ones we're going to work with. We're going to get our scorer back. And we're going to score on that dark one, that dark one, and that dark one there. this one back away. And again, I'm going to ink around it. And I'm just again inking just the edges here. This will be a little bit harder to ink, so you can use a brush or your dauber if you like. I am not going to be as fussy. Beautiful. And then we're going to do the same with this one. Gonna ink around. Beautiful. Okay, next, so we've got these two, and again we are going to put glue on the flap. We already did this. Yes, we did. We scored them and attach it to there. As you can see, I have a bit of white there. Excuse me. And I'm going to ink it a little bit red, just to hide that little bit of white. Okay, so now be careful when you fold these. They're very thick paper, and if you're not gentle to start with, they will tear. Glue from there so it doesn't get on my paper, and I'm going to glue this one on here. If you're using a wet glue, you get it wrong like I just did, you get a few seconds to move it. Excellent. So this is what we get. Okay, we're gonna go back to our papers, and we are going to look for panel D2. Let's see, envelope base, pocket. That's D1. Okay, so it is in page 8, panel D2. We need this. So we're going to cut this out of here. So I'll get my little cutter. Get these all aside. These aside. This one, and we're going to ink it just to get rid of that white edge. And we're going to bring back the first thing we put together, which is this one. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn it this way. So I'm going to bring this one back. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to glue this there. Now, I have noticed that if you want to, you can ink these edges and it will make it stand out a little bit more. It does look quite good, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Just before I glue things down, I ink, since my ink is right there. That's one. Another one here. And then I've got two more here. Now, if you've done one side, you can go and ink the other side, but this is already done for you and it looks really pretty, so I wouldn't bother. So on this side, I'm gonna go and I'm going to glue these right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it so that I have an even border between this line that we've inked and the top and the bottom. So there'll be a larger border here, which will not matter, trust me. So I will say about there. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that and glue that. And let's see. Beautiful. Just like that. She looks pretty as. So the next step is we're going to get this part that we already done. We're going to flip it over and we're going to, so again, you can go ahead and ink those folds. Where the folds are, there we are. We got 3 there. I'm going to go quickly and ink them. Give me a second, I shall do this one too. Cool. Now, what we're going to do, let me see, flip it. So you're looking at this, we are going to flip it this way, and we are going to glue this right there. Now at this stage, if you want to, you can go and ink a little bit more around it, or you can leave it plain, or you can do anything you like. I'm just going to give it a very small ink. As you can see, I didn't do too much. Now, what I'm going to do is flip it back, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue here, a little bit of glue here, and a little bit of glue here, because when I turn it and glue it, I want this to be a pocket. So, let's flip it. Got a white side here, this one here, and we're going to put not glue on there. I'm going to put a glue on here. Thank you, Tintin. Let me just... Thank you, Tintin. You're very helpful. Okay, let's see if it comes back. Of course, it's going to come back. And then over here. Now, if you have anything like glossy accents or the Uniquely Creative, the Couture Creation glue or the Art Glitter glue, they're all very strong glues. So you will not need much at all. I'll just make sure that I don't have any gaps. And then I'm going to flip it. Like I'm going to line up that with my edge. And then that with the edge at the bottom. Turn it around if you need to. Okay, and look at that. Perfect. Now I'll give it a few seconds to dry. And once that's dry, it is not going to come apart. So next we want to go back to our papers, and let's see if we have it around here. We want D2. So go through your papers, and if I find it before you, I'll let you know which page it's on. Let's see who's quicker. D1. Okay, it seems that I have lost it. So let's look through them again. H. Ignore me, it's D1. That's why I couldn't find it. So it's that one here, because we used D2 there. So yes. So we're going to do that one, and we're going to cut it. And we're going to ink it. Very nice. Now this is where we are going to take this big long folio. We're going to close that, and we're going to glue it there. Now again, we're going to glue it so it has an even border around there. Don't worry about this yet. So let's do that first. Okay, let's see. There. Get up in. Now, how pretty are these girls? Okay, now I'm going to turn this into a pocket again. So what we're going to do now is fold that down. Yes, your nails are not a bone folder, I've been told, but it will do. And just like before, I'm going to put a little bit of glue here and a little bit of glue here. I'm not going to bother putting glue across it because nothing is going to fall out because it is a closed pocket. So there and there. Excellent. That looks very pretty already, and this is what it should look like. So nice long folio, and if you flip it over, it'll be like that. Okay, move on to the next part. Now what we're going to do is go back through some of the papers we already cut before, and we will find flap base and flap base too. That's what we want now. So I'm going to put my little folio aside, bring in my cutter, and chop chop. I'm gonna write a little 1 here, so I know that this is number 1 and that's number 2. Don't know if it matters yet because it doesn't look like it matters. It looks like they're exactly the same. No, it doesn't matter. So we have 1 and 2. And then my little scissors, and I'm gonna cut my corners. Okay, gonna pop that one back up there, and we're going to get our scorer out. Now we're going to score again where the black is. On away, ink my edges. As you can see, there's a little bit of white there, so I'm going to hide it. This time I know I'm inking my score lines, so I might as well just ink it. And again, all I'm doing is, don't know if we need to ink it yet or not. And oops, and then a little bit here. Okay, let's get rid of that rubbish. I'm not worried about that because obviously wherever something is white, we're going to stick something on top. So these are 2 flaps. I'm going to get rid of the rubbish. We're going to bring our folio back. So I want my album facing this way. I have my 2 little flaps here. Let's see what we want to do. So what we are going to do is we are going to pop 1 right here and 1, I want to go this way, right here. Now, do 1 at a time, obviously. We want it to be at the edge, not over the edge or under the edge. So as close as possible to the edge. And you can see we have a small gap on each side. So we want it to be kind of even gap, or as even as possible. I'm not gonna even bother measuring it. I'm gonna eyeball it. So my glue, a bit of brushing. I believe this album is going nowhere once it's finished with all these glossy accents on it. Okay, of course that's gonna fall. So we are going to eyeball it, and it is centered about there. I'm gonna flip it up, and I'm gonna clean. I know it's gonna dry clear anyway, but I don't want everyone to know that I stuffed up and had glue everywhere. So just by clearing that little bit of glue, it hides that little mistake there. Excellent. So that's beautiful. And then I'm going to flip that up so I've got more space. I'm going to do the same down the bottom, push everything up. So I'm going to line it up and glue it there. And then those two should meet nice and easily if I line them up properly. Excellent. So glue. Hopefully you don't see my head. Oops, too much. You don't have to be that picky. I don't know why I'm being picky. I'm not usually anywhere near this picky. I think it's because I'm not going to edit these instructions, so you can see all the mistakes that I make. So 1 and 2. And yes, you can see that mine is slightly bigger on one side than the other. It's just how I cut it when I cut it on the cutter. You could trim it if you want to. I'm not even going to think about it because nobody's going to see that once it's put together. Okay, so from here, we are going to take this one, page 6. We want this little panel here. Pop the other two aside. So we need cutter. And we shall, this is easy. Slice, slice, slice. 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 Now, Tintin has been here this whole time, and it's 35 minutes in, purring. If you can hear it, that's him. So, what are we going to do with this one is we're going to open, and we are going to pop it in here. Now, if you have glued it at the edge, that will fit in there. And what you want to do is you want to be at the edge of both. So, it's straight in there. Now, ink first. And then we shall glue. And I don't think it matters which way you put it. It's completely up to you. As long as we butt that up there. And, oops, straighter. And press. Oops. There we go. Perfect. That looks really good. So next, you know those two pockets we just put aside? We want the big one out of it. Pocket number 1. And the babies have just arrived home. I shall be back when they stop barking. Okay, so they are all happy to see me. And they're no longer barking. So here we go. So we're going to cut pocket number 1. And again, nice and easy with the cutter. Now, obviously, this part, I'm going to do the stripe bit with the cutter. And again, we're going to have to do this part with the scissors. So that one goes away and this one comes in. Last bit. that cannot go in the bin. And I'm going to ink my edges as usual. Excellent. Okay, so this pocket belongs here, right smack between these two. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on here and close my flaps to see if it fits. Because if I have made my pockets, if I glued my pockets a bit further in, and we're only talking a millimeter or so, it will need a bit of a trimming. But this one is actually, I have put my pockets a little bit too much on the out, so it fits in there. So I'm going to center it and I'm going to glue it down, and you can see it's not quite straight, so I'm going to straighten as best as possible. Again, I'm not going to be too particular about it because nobody is going to notice less than a millimeter difference there once we put our bits and pieces in there. So all I'm going to do is glue, glue and glue. If yours, when you're trying it on, doesn't close, it means you need to take a slither off. Just yell out and I'll come and help you. That's if you're coming to class. If you're doing this at home and it doesn't fit, take a slither off. Okay, so turn it over. I have inked my edges. Yes, I have. And we're going to put glue, not on our project, hopefully. We're going to put glue on 3 sides to make our pocket. Okay, then turn and pop it in there. Oops. Don't move it too much like I just did. How is that? Look at that. Perfect. Now, as usual, I have a little bit of a mess there. So just get a little tissue, wipe it off, and you'll be good. So once it is nice and dry and it all fits perfectly, we're going to go back into our little book or little stack of printouts, and we want panel E, which looks like, it looks like this little girl. Look how pretty she is. So we're gonna cut this one off. So what I'll do is I'm going to trim that off with my scissors so that the rest stay there. So that way I keep the name of my panels on it. So that one I will trim with the cutter first. Then trim this off. And then I will cut the white off by hand. and then we ink it. Again, just a very quick ink just to get rid of that white. If I was to redo this album, I would choose a brown ink. I wouldn't choose a red. So, and then we are going to glue this right there. Now, don't worry about that leftover bit. We're going to put something else there. We just want it to be glued down so it's a nice even border. Like that. So we're going to go ahead and glue that down. And again, wet glue gives me a little bit of leeway in moving it. And then just remove those little smudges. Otherwise, it will still be clear glue, but it will stand up. Oh, stand out. That's it. Okay, next step. So that is, we need this other little pocket 2, and again we're going to cut it. And this one, beautiful. And this one, I'm just gonna check that it fits. It will fit up on top of it, and that looks pretty good. It's a little bit on the big side. Make sure it closes, and it, see how it's fluffing up? It is not closing, it's pushing that in. That means I need to take a little bit off of it. And so for doing that, my big trimmer is not going to do that. So, but my little one will. So I'm going to take a slither off the top and a slither off the bottom. And a 2-minute slither. So try again. Let's see if it fits. Still puffing it up a little bit. Don't know if you can see it there. So what happens is it's supposed to lay flat, and to exaggerate, it's laying like that. So I'm going to take another slither off. And this time I know for a fact it's not going to puff up because it is perfect fit. Look at that. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and hand cut all these off. Now if you are quicker than I am, go ahead and ink yours. I am a little bit slow today. Beautiful. So ink your edges. So what we're going to do is glue 3 sides and make our pocket. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to finish this up by placing a panel on here, and it's panel F. So that was right next to that last panel we got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop, because it's an A3 page, it's not going to fit in my cutter. So I'm going to chop this like that, so that this fits in the cutter. Okay. Okay, that's for later, and that's for the bin. And I'm gonna trim that with the cutter again, because cutter makes beautiful straight cuts, and I cannot get straight cuts like that. There we go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and remove the white. Beautiful. The only thing I don't like is I kind of cut it too. Beautiful. Okay. So this should fit there perfectly. So all we need to do is ink it. And then we are going to glue it right there. And that's perfect. So for our next step, we are actually going to pop our 2 panels on here. So that's panels J. Now you have panel J outside and panel J insides. So these are our panel J inside, so we'll do them later. What you want to do is use the panel J outside, which is a young girl and our little animals. Let's call them animals. Okay, so let's chop these 2 off and trim them. So Now again, it's an A3, so I won't fit in my cutter. So I'm going to just trim them with scissors. Upside down. Okay, pop that one aside, and we're going to finish trimming all these off. And I'm gonna finish them up with the scissors. Okay, so sorry about that, the phone rang. So I'm going to ink my edges, get rid of that white. And obviously, she goes there and they go there. Otherwise, they will be upside down. So we can go ahead and glue them all down. If I find my glue there. Oops, get back in there. Now flip that one up and we'll pop this one down as well. Oops. So they look very good. Excellent. I say excellent a lot today. Excellent and nice. So for the next step will be to put our closures. Now, there are all different types of closure, and this was designed with these little circles to go on here, and you can always magnetize it, but I think they're a little bit on the big sides. So what I'm going to do is I went through my, the scraps that we cut, from all the other stuff, and I got a few scraps here. So I'm going to decide what kind of closure I want and how I'm going to attach it to there. And I won't do that on camera because it'll take me a while. So I can't come up with an idea for the closure, so I'm going to move on and come back to the closure later. Okay, so I have decided I'm going to jump and decorate. I'm going to move that way. I'm going to jump and decorate this side first. So you're going to need page 12 and this panel L2 here. Now, as always, my carrot is not that big, so I'm going to remove it. And remove these out of the way. Okay, so get my cutter, and I'm going to cut straight there, and then that one there. One. Okay, so that should fit nicely in here. So all I'm going to do is fussy cut it. Okay, so using my scissors, and as you can see, I haven't cut very well, so I'm going to get rid of that white line and then go really close. Okay, now ink. Excellent, and glue. Okay, and that is perfect. Very, very good. Okay, let's see what next. Let's see what we can put on here. Maybe. Yes, it is. So we're going to cut this pocket. Okay, so we are going to cut these two pockets. Or actually, we're going to cut one pocket because we're only going to do one side. So pocket 3. Okay. All nice and straight, and as always I'm gonna cut it with that here and then trim it with my scissors. away, and we are going to ink. And as always, we're going to glue 3 sides only. Now, before I glue, I want to make sure that it fits in that section. Yes, it does. Now, what I'm going to do is to make a match with the rest. Actually, no, I'm going to go straight to the end. Yeah, I'm going to glue it straight on the border here. Okay, so what I did is I cut a pocket, so it's called pocket number 3. I cut number 1 and I glued it down here. Then I got in page 9, there is the C panel 1 and 2. They're the same, so just cut one out, and we are going to remove that by hand. And we're going to ink the edges and glue it straight there. Okay, so I'm going to ink the edges. Just remove that white. And then we're going to glue it here. And again, it's a pocket, so we're going to glue this part. To move around slightly, and that is perfect. Okay, starting to look very good indeed. Okay, so next, okay, so we are going to decorate this panel next. So for this one, we are going to need this, which is page 5. And we're going to cut it all around. So what I'll do for now is remove this completely. And this is going to be hard because obviously it might not fit in your cutters. If I remove that and that, I'm hoping that it does. Okay, let's see how lucky we are. We are pretty lucky. Doesn't quite fit, but it will do. So that needs a slither off. So I've got a big cutter somewhere. I shall go and get it. I was hoping not to have to bring it out because it is so big. But anyway, we shall put this in there. And I'm going to have to remove the guard. mean, a scissor would have done as well. It is not worth being this picky. Because with my luck, it's cutting anyway. Let's get rid of this big one. And then I'll just trim it with my scissors. Okay. Then we're going to cut these. And then finally, I'm just going to cut this side. Okay, and we have our scorer, and as always we are going to score on the dark lines. And then, because I've done in all the others, I'm going to ink these score lines now. I might or might not need to, but I cannot remember. So I'm going to do it now, so I don't have to do it later. And my inking is literally that. Okay. Now, just a very quick ink to get rid of that white. let me get rid of all these things, and we're going to bring the album back. Let's see if I can close it a little so it gets in here. Okay, so this will be our that way. I think that way. Yes, that looks better. So this will be our pocket thingy here. So we are going to need a panel for here. Now you don't have to put a panel in here. You can just glue it down like that, and you have your opening and closing. Otherwise, panel M will fit here quite well. Let's find panel M. Look at that. See, once we cut that and we fit it in there, it looks really pretty. So let's trim this one up. Now the other thing you can do is, instead of gluing that here, it can be an envelope on its own. If you want it as an envelope on its own, what you can have it like that. So, and that is actually what I'm going to do. I'm not going to follow Tina's instructions and put it there and glue it there. I'm going to have it as a free envelope that sits inside the album. So I'm going to, let's see what we're going to do. I'm going to get this one, ink it. Now, if you like, you can move the album away because this is what we're working on. And then I'm going to glue it, or maybe not, it's a bit stuck. Okay, try again. I'm quite happy with that. I want it this way and I want it right there. So now, because I'm going to close this, I'm going to ink this one because we're going to make a pocket out of it. Just a little bit, not too much. Okay, and for this one, all we got to do is put a little bit of glue down and a little bit of glue down here. And we are going to close it like that. This makes a nice big envelope. Look at that. Now I'm going to ink this as well. And then we want the panels to go on this little album. And the panels are, let me get them out for you. We need panel O, 1 and 2. So let's start with that. So next, obviously, we're going to do some fussy cutting. Okay. Oops. Kind of went a bit too crazy there. And okay. Now, let's see. This one looks very pretty there. This one looks very pretty there. And that is how we're gonna have them. Now, if you were to swap them around, as you can tell, they'll be upside down. So they still look alright when they're this way, but if you're looking at the envelope this way, it'll be. So if you glue these on, it'll be alright. If you don't, put them this way. They look better. Trust me. Okay, so we've got this one. We're just gonna glue it down. And there we go. And then this one. Yes, I did. Just checking that I did ink it. As you can imagine, last thing you want to do is glue it down and then find out if you forgot to ink it. That this one goes there. Now we're gonna need a cover for that. Beautiful. Looks very good. cover for this one, so let's see which one it is. Okay, so we need this panel N, so let's chop him up. Okay, so that will go quite well there. I'll just give it a quick inking. Oh, bugger. Ah, well, that's just going to be like that. So that will go there. And as you can tell, I am getting tired, but that's okay. We really need to finish this one. The way all our projects for the Craft-a-thon are finished. Beautiful. So that will go in there, that will sit there, that will close there. Oh, look, we need a spot there. So panel L will go there. So let's chop this one. And move all this out of the way. Make this one. Beautiful. And we're going to glue that right there. So for now, I'm going to remove that just to make it nice and flat, so I have space. Beautiful. So again, like I said, you have the choice of gluing that down, so you can make it into a pocket. If you do glue it down, I will go that way. So that comes there, that comes there. Now this one, if I am correct, yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this on here. So let's find it. We want panel B and panel C. On the side. And we remove that. And first we're going to ink this one. And glue it down. And that goes up here. And then we're gonna ink this one. And we're going to glue 3 sides down to make it into a pocket. And I obviously cut a bit more than that, than it was needed. So that's okay, that still looks good. Beautiful. So then we have a few more panels and then we're almost done. What are we gonna do here? Okay, I think this one will be the little house. So we're going to cut this one and glue it there. Yes, we're gonna do that. Cool. Now, if you do want to make sure, I was going to say, you can flatten it out or you can open the album to make it nice and flat. Really, Reese. Reese agrees with me, obviously. Okay, so beautiful right there. That's all done. Looks pretty good. I mean, you can always fold it this way. Oops, get back in there, you. Fold it that way. You can fold it whichever way you like. Completely up to you. I would probably fold it this way, that way. Oh, no, it wouldn't be on the outside anyway. It's all on the inside. Yes, so many ways. So, we still have a few more. We have these two to do. We have these two to do. Now, with this one, it's just going to be a special closure. And I haven't decided what it's going to be yet. And that's why it's special, because I haven't decided. And with these two, we only have one panel here and two panels there. What I want to use is this gorgeous white ribbon. For it. So what I would like to do is put my ribbon down and tie a little bow. So that it will, when we are tying it, this is how we go. We tie it here. And I think that will look quite beautiful. The gold will set it off quite nicely. So to do that, there is two ways you can do it. You can just glue it down with glue. In this situation, I actually use double-sided tape to hold it, just to hold that down so it doesn't move. Now, if you want to save space, save ribbon, you can cut it and put a little bit here and a little bit at the other end. I am not going to be bothered over a little piece of ribbon. That way also I know it will not come out. So I'm going to find my center with a ruler, which I don't have, of course. Okay, so we're going to measure it here. And it is just under that 9-inch mark. So the middle will be 4.5, which is about there. I'm just going to put a mark there. Okay. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to run a piece of double-sided tape straight there, all the way around, and all the way around, and I'm gonna stop just before, just after the end of the white. So put that away. So measure my ribbon. And you can cut it down after if it's too long. So I'm gonna go that way, remove the ribbon, remove the tape, add the ribbon, and then that doesn't look right, does it? Where is my measurement thingy again? That one is that way. 0, 4, 4.5 is a little bit higher. That's okay. So 4.5 is about there. So I must have gone at an angle. Good thing about tape and ribbon, it doesn't matter. Now you can be very precise if you want. In that situation, just measure it and put it in where you will like it. Now I'm quite happy with that. So put that away. We have to do this side, and what else we need? There should be 2 of these. There we go. Panel G1 and 2. And well, let's trim them first. Okay, so I just removed the corners on these 2. Let's get rid of this rubbish. Ink. And we'll bring this back, and obviously she goes at the front, otherwise she'll be upside down. Look how gorgeous you are. And let's glue you down. And that is perfect. And then it goes this way. Oh, we got this way. And we glue you down here. Just like that. Gissa inte. Dougie's already in bed, yet Frankie still calls him. Excellent, look at that. It has come along really nice. We still have to do the back and we still have to do this. So, I know what I want here, but that is too big. Way too big. I wonder if I cut it into a circle smaller. Okay, let's see if it works. Oh, not for sure. I'm just looking at what image I will cut if I was to cut a circle. And how do you come out? Oh, there. So that looks okay. Doesn't look too bad, so I'm going to do that for my closures. And what I'm going to do, oops, is I'm going to cut two. It's about this right. Oops. There. And we're going to have a closure here. So, to do this type of closure, you will need approximately half a dozen of circles. Now, the two are important, what they look like. The other are not important. So you can get any scrap of paper, as long as it's thick paper, and cut it. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we've got a few round circles plus our two good ones. And I'm going to glue them in lots of 4, I'm thinking. Let's see. So that's 4. They're cute as. And where's another one? And that's my top, which will make a 5. So this makes really thick cool buttons. You can use buttons to do this with. You can use pretty much any kind of closure you would like. So maybe not this exact closure, but to make a closure for this album, you can use anything you like. So the album on display, there will be this one and another one. You will see that it is done as per what Tinny designed. And Tinny designed it with a swing closure. So let's see. Cool. Okay, so we want this too. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rub some red around it, just to make it fit with the rest of the album and get rid of that stark white. Okay, you will now need a pokey tool, if you've got a pokey tool, and a pencil. With our pencil, we are going to decide where we want our closures. And I'm thinking like that. There and there. Then with a ruler, you can measure the center. See where your center of the paper is. So it's 6.5, so the center is about there. And then again, the center here is about there. So see how high you want it. I want it there, so about there. And how low you want it. The center of this is there, so we want it that low. So just to give you an idea of where you want your closure. Now, I have a pokey tool, very sharp pokey tool, and I just happen to have a book making tool as well. So you need to put a hole through the center of the sharp of this. Now you can measure it, you can eyeball it, completely up to you. Once it starts coming through, I poke it there and push. And then the next one, oops. Okay, so we were almost running out of battery, so I've plugged you in. So with the second one, just to get it the same, that's there, hole is there, push through, done. So there are my two. This is going to be a little bit harder. I mean, if you've got a foam, and I'll show you what that is. You can use a shaping foam or foam mat, but I keep these from packaging material just for this job. Just make a hole, and then the other one, it's a little bit messy because you got to turn it around, and with that one, I think I wanted to match that one. The other way of doing it is to get a long ruler. So it's this one. I just measured it. Hole there. And we got our holes done. So we can put this away for now. And then we have our two little ones. So I want to use these white breads. Now, if you do happen to have larger breads, they will probably be better than these little ones. Let's see how these ones go. Because again, I am completely naturally improvising here. So, okay. Beautiful. Yeah, they will fit. So the idea is you don't put it tight. You want it to move because we're going to put some ribbon behind it. And then this one here. See, I should have put that down a little bit more. But that's okay. So, how to close this now? We're gonna get, and this is another time that I use double-sided tape because it's not for anything other than to hold them there while I'm doing other things. And top one. Beautiful. So next we are going to get panels. Oops. Panels J, and we're going to cut these out. Now, this one needs a little bit of a trim. Beautiful. Ink them up. Now you could use a green ink for this as well, but like I said at the start of the video, if I had to do this album again, I will use a brown, like a darkish brown. Okay, so bring our album back, and what we're going to do is open these, open that, open that. So we'll do them, we can't do them both at the same time, you can see, but pretty much work out where you want each one. It doesn't really matter because they are the same. I will remove that tape. I don't remove the tape. I remove just the cover, because the tape actually helps with stopping the bread from tearing into the paper. And then I'm actually putting some extra glue around it so that my paper sticks to it without any issues. And this one goes this way. See if you can center it best as you can. And then we'll bring this one up, cover off the tape, lots of glue around the tape, and glue around this. Okay, so that's it. All I need now is a piece of this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it up the top, make a knot. If my fingers will work, we will be fine. Make a knot, and then I will trim, just gently lift up and trim the end of the knot so it doesn't come out. And then completely up to you. See, next time, remember, pop this one a little bit lower or this one a little bit higher. But for now, we're gonna go up, around, and all about. Let's see if I can undo that before. Okay. That's it. Oh, come on, do it again. There. And that's it. Now, I'm not sure how this likes fire. Let's see if I can burn down the house. Oh, look at that. It is working. You might want to do it before you find out how many you gotta do through. So I just want it to be one big part. Alternatively, I know this will work. I just don't want to do it because I don't want to glue my place down, glue my book down. If you pop a bit of the glossy accent toner, make it nice and thick, and glue it all together, swish it in, leave it to dry. That will be a nice big blob and it will not come apart. But in the meantime, this is what I've done. Okay, now do we need to do anything else? We've done this, we've done that, we've done the back of that. We haven't done this one. Let's get to it. So there is only this panel left over, I think. I think that one is too small. So this one is too small as well, so it doesn't go there either. Let me find the panel that goes on there. Aha, look at that. They look similar, but one's tiny, one's big. So we want the big one. Trim this one, and we're gonna stick it there. Okay. Okay, so we need some ink. And there. Oh, look how pretty. I think it's done. What have I missed? That one. Now, that one is supposed to go there, but I've decided not to glue it because I might want to do something else with it. Okay, let's see what we have left in here. So, we have, let's pop the top on the glue if we will find it. Hope it doesn't dry on me again. So I have some fussy cutting left. Hey, I have another pocket. Where did I miss this pocket? Put that there. I think that was meant to go there. Oh, that's correct. That is supposed to go on top of that, and that goes inside there. Remind me, this is wrong. Okay, I'll put a note on the video before. So that first and that after, that's why it doesn't match. Too late now. What else are we left? Base tags, 1 and 2. We've got a panel, another panel, some fussy cuts, and some pages. Okay, how about we make the pages first, and some more fussy cuts. We pop the fussy cuts aside, and we'll make the pages. One. And there should be another one. There it is. So we have 4-page book, and you can fold them anywhere you like. Oh, Tintin finally got off my chair. So, what do I want? Don't forget your book opens this way, so whatever you fold, it will be the first page, and I like that for my first page. After that, I am not fussed. So I might go and alternate. Or you could even go one that way, one that way, one that way, and one that way. That would work too. That hard part, scoring halfway. Now, easy way of doing it will be to fold them right there, and you can't get more exact than that. And then, because yours is going to be different depending on where you cut it, and then we can measure where that score is. And see, my score is between the 4 3/8 and 4 1/2. Yeah, 4 3/8 and 4 1/2. So it's a bit off. So I'm going to move my paper a little bit over. Alternatively, you can just go this way, halfway, gently, because you don't want to damage the paper. That's it. I think that'll probably be the easiest way of doing it. So see, that's needs a trim. It's not straight. But you're not gonna know if I don't tell you. Okay, so that's 4. Now you can, like I said, you can put them anywhere you like. So I'm going to go open this way, and then it will open that way, open that way, and open this way. So this is how I want my album. So once you decide how you want yours, fold it nice and tight. And then we are going to sew it. If you have a book sewing kit at home, this is what it is. It will be easier. If you don't, it doesn't matter. So if you do have it, all you do is decide where you're going to put your holes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure. I don't usually measure, I usually eyeball it, but I'm going to go the wrong way. I'm going to go 2 inches from the bottom and 2 inches from the top. And then you work out where that is. Turn it around. 2 inches from the top is here, and then 2 inches from the bottom is here. So with mine, it's gonna be very simple. I did that one, and I did this one. And what you do, if you have one of these machines, you then get the next page, pop it in there, and keep on poking. And they all come out the same. If you don't have this one, it's okay. All you need is part of your shaping tools. Same thing. What you do, with a pokey tool, you measure 2 inches. 2 inches, and you poke it. And you can use a normal everyday poking tool. Okay, so last one for me, because I don't want to measure, I'm going to be lazy and use my little machine. Excellent. So then all you have to do is put them back in the order that you want them. How did I want them? Which one is my front one? Front, back, front. I think that's how I want them. Let me see. Yes, we can put lots of photos and things. A little bit of writing. More lots of photos. More writing. Beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to make them nice and big, my holes. So they're all in the same area, if I could see where it was. Should be able to feel it. Otherwise, we'll check it against that. Let's have a look. Okay. And all we do is we have a lot of patience and we thread this through the book one little bit at a time. Maybe we'll fire it first, eh? Okay. Now we do is we thread it in. I have to make the hole bigger if it doesn't fit. Yes, much better. Now you can make 2 holes, you can make 3 holes, you can make as many holes as you want. Poke it through. My mind says just poke it through, Josie. Okay. And then I need to get in there. Okay, so this is the longest. It might be because I'm trying to do like 4 at the same time. See if we can do 1 at a time, if it's easier. Where are you? Oh, I might have just picked the wrong thread to do this with. Nah, look at that. I think it is because I was trying to do 4 at the same time. Okay, and then you just tie a knot. Sorry guys, I think I have come off camera there. Cool. So that's it. That's our little booklet. Obviously, if you have more than 2 hands, you can make it tighter. I made it way too loose, but doesn't matter. Scissors, scissors. Now, it depends if you like it to show or not to show the little bits here. I don't want to show, so let's see if I can burn it without burning the book down. There we go. That will stay as a knot. That gives us our 4 pages. They're not too tight, so that's good. And that's finished. What else do we have? Wow. So we have our fussy cutting, which is our decorative bits and pieces. So we are going to put the folio aside, and we'll quickly put these together. Now, when I'm not cutting for a class, this is what I do. I cut everything in straight lines, put my rubbish aside, and everything that I need to cut, I put aside over here. But because we were doing the class, I actually did it step by step and put the album together step by step. If you are putting this album at home, what you can do is cut the whole thing up and ink it. And where you see a white space on the inside, you know we're going to glue something on top of it. Write what it is. Or these ones, for example, they're going to be glued on something. If there is a white space, write what it is. So it's a tag base 2. You know, just write tag base 2. And that way you'll know when we come to the instructions and you're looking for that tag base 2. And then the tag top 2, that goes on top of that. And that goes on top of that. Easy. So, but because we were doing it for class, I did it slowly. So we're going to ink everything. going to glue these first. There it is. And pop them aside. And I'll show you what I do with those. They're just, everything else that's left is now embellishments. So you can embellish with your own things. You can embellish with other collections or anything you want, really. But these are a couple of embellishments to add to the album or the journal, whatever you want to call it. So that one. And this one. Pop them aside for now. And I'll quickly finish fussy cutting these. Whoops. Last one. Frankie wants to play peekaboo. I have no idea who taught him that. And for those that don't know, Frankie is a corella, I think it is. It's, you know, the white Australian bird. He's outside looking inside my window going peekaboo. Oops, almost got a leg off. Let's try not to do that. Excellent. So these are the parts that I have left over. Oops, gotta put you away. You go try again. This is my album. This is the part I stuffed up. I forgot to put it on one of these. One of these. How many of these we have? Oh, that way. On that one. So it belongs underneath this one. I could rip it out, print another one of these, stick this on top and put it there. But you know what? We'll make mistakes and that way you can see what I made. This is my little album, which belongs in here. So let's see how I want it to look. I'm going to put the little album in here. Oops, and I just broke it. Let's pop a little bit of more glue. Okay, so this is gluing, and while it's gluing, we're gonna leave it alone. Okay, so we're gonna leave that there for now. Let's get rid of the rubbish, shall we? Before I show you the album. That can go, that can go. Okay, you belong here, you belong there, you belong there, you belong there. Okay, so let's try again, eh? Album opens, this little thing opens somehow. I did quite a few layers of string, and if you have a charm, that will look very pretty on here. I haven't got one with me at the moment, so that goes in there. You can even put the little album in here. See if I can break this one too. There we go. And that will then close. Ignore the cable. I was running out of power. Look at that. And then that can close like that. Or if you like doing the figure 8 like they do on trials, then opens this way. We have a little spot here that you can put tags in, photos, anything you want. Then we have another spot here that we can put tags, photos, anything you want. Then, and this is embellishing, you do not have to do this. It is completely up to you. I will put this here and make it into a flap. So to do that, I will get some nice white paper that hasn't been destroyed. Like for example, the one that I stuffed up. I will back this up, cut it again. So it's nice and thick. And then I will glue that on 2 sides, and it will become a little spot area. This area, we are supposed to glue this down. I decided I didn't want to do that. This is going to be a little envelope all on its own. This will be perfect for a nice big photo, and I can embellish the photo as I want. Again, pocket, you can put many tags in there. This is a very small sample of what is available from this collection. Another spot there for tags. Another, let me get another one out because we only have the 2 tags. Another spot here for tags, and this is the one that I actually stuffed up. So, and then finally, that's just our back and front page. Now, the 1 or 2 things I will actually do, because I have so much of this string left, I would actually get those 2 tags, wherever they are, there they are, and I would measure again. I hate measuring because I keep losing my ruler. So, I will measure again the center, which is, and how far down I want it. I would like it about there, 2 inches. Are they the same size? Yes, they are. I'm not sure if I can cut them both at the same time, but I will try, and it looks like I can. Excellent. And then I will get that beautiful string that we all love. I'm going to have to bring a lighter tomorrow. Although somebody else can burn their fingers. And pop it in there. Now, be smart. Do 2 at once, so you don't have to burn your fingers. And probably that long. Chop, chop. And that one will go about there. I mean, it depends on how pretty you want it. I am quite happy with a knot right there. And again, oops, don't come out. Knot. There, and look at that, and it just ties it up with this. I made them like this. You can make them with the you know how there's the knot, like that kind of knot, if you can see. I'm not sure. You can do whatever you like. It's very flexible journal, and I'm very flexible. Yes, darling. Reese has just come to say, Mummy, are you done? You've been at it all day. No, I haven't, sweetie. It's only been 3 hours. Okay, so this is what I have left over to embellish with. Obviously, you've got lots of products in your kit that you can keep on embellishing this, since this is going to be our last project. I am not going to embellish it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it as it is and pop my embellishments in here. There will be this journal available for you to have a look at in class. There will be another one this size, and there will be one exactly the same but smaller. This one we printed in an A3, and I asked one of the girls to do one in an A4 size, so it comes out quite small, and we thought, nah, this is a better size for popping photos in. So that's it. This is finished. Let's see how long it took us. It's not even 3 hours. We did quite well. Excellent. I will see you all in class. Well, you'll see me before I see you. Bye.